News online at krwg.org.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting NEWS22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
Tonight on NEWS22.
A Las Cruces man is dead after a hit-and-run accident.
The water in the Rio Grande is set to reach the Las Cruces area this weekend.
And NEWS22's Melissa Barrazas introduces us to a man who has his worries about the new immigration crackdown.
NEWS22 starts now.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV NEWS22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Javier Gutierrez.
And I'm Shelby Montgomery.
Police need your help locating the driver involved in a fatal hit-and-run.
Police say they found the body of 50-year-old Michael Chadwick lying in the roadway just south of Rigsby Road. The accident happened early Thursday morning between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m. Police are looking for a vehicle with dark blue metallic paint with severe damage to its front end and a possible broken headlight.
Yeah, this morning we were called out to Barker Road. Apparently a passerby found or saw a body on the side of the road or in the road. And so they called 911. We went out there and found out that the person who was there was already dead.
Las Cruces Crime Stoppers is offering a $1,000 reward for information that helps identify the driver. You can contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477.
$1 million worth of cocaine and other drugs are off the streets. Agents in El Paso and Santa Teresa confiscated the drugs during the past week.
That's the first story in tonight's Crime Blotter.
A drug-sniffing dog alerted the agents at the Santa Teresa border crossing earlier this week. It was in the gas tank of a pickup truck, along with some marijuana. A 22-year-old El Paso man was arrested and charged with drug smuggling. Santa Teresa border officers seized an additional 22 pounds of crystal meth, 163 pounds of marijuana, and 63 grams of cocaine in 6 separate cases. On Tuesday, they found 610 pounds of marijuana inside a tank transported by a semi-trailer from Mexico. Police are investigating Christopher Taylor Manuel and want to hear from parents who left their kids at Susie's Zoo Home Daycare in Las Cruces. Manuel is charged with several sex crimes involving children. Parents who left children there are asked to call La Piñon Children's Advocacy Center and Rape Crisis Center. And this woman is charged with beating and strangling her former girlfriend last week. Police say Innocence Gamboa went to the apartment of her ex-girlfriend and got into a fight. Police say she strangled the other girl. No major injuries were reported. I'm Raquel Andujo with the Crime Blotter.
National Crime Victims' Rights Week kicks off Saturday in Las Cruces. The event will include a Victims Memorial Walk, Community Resource Expo, music and free food from Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, and more. There will also be activities for kids to promote awareness of child abuse. The Victim Witness Assistance Program was created to assist with the trauma and burden suffered by the victims of crime. The event will take place at Young Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Just the weather. It's lovely today. Lovely. Loved it. Warm.
Compared to yesterday, it was really cold. The weather is very unpredictable in Las Cruces.
That it is. And Jackie is here with our first look at weather.
Water will be soon on its way south to Las Cruces. The U.S. Bureau of Reclamation will be releasing water from the Caballo Reservoir Friday morning. It's estimated the water could reach La Llorona Park in Las Cruces early afternoon Saturday. The first water is designated for the El Paso area farmers as a part of the El Paso County Water Improvement District Number 1. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at your current conditions. Right now we're looking at mostly sunny skies with a temperature of 75 degrees. Winds are coming in from the southwest at 12 miles per hour. Our humidity sits at 12%, our dew point at 20 degrees, and our barometer sits at 29.70 inches. Today we hit a high of 78 degrees, which is well above our average of 71 degrees after an overnight low of 52 degrees. Back in 2001, we hit a record of 85 degrees. In 1967, we hit a record low of 24 degrees. We didn't have any rain for today, but our yearly rainfall still sits at 2.14 inches. That's all I have for your current conditions. I'll be back with your national weather, but for right now, back to the desk.
Thanks, Jackie. Many immigrant students at NMSU are concerned with the new immigration policy. But one group is making sure they understand their rights and changes to the policy. The group called Standing With Our Students will have a roundtable discussion today. They'll explain the current political climate and answer any questions. Tonight, the speakers will be some NMSU professors and the director of the ACLU Regional Center for Border Rights. The discussion will be tonight at 7 in room 210 in the Hardman Jacobs building on campus.
With the tougher policy on immigration, many immigrants are worried about their future.
Melissa Barraza is here in the studio to tell us about a young man who's always looking over his shoulder. Melissa?
This young man is admittedly undocumented, but he says he's trying his best to be a good person. And the woman who hired him hopes he can stay here and keep working. This 29-year-old Chihuahua native who doesn't want to be identified left Mexico 6 years ago because of danger during the height of the cartel war.
Uno de los motivos principales fue la delincuencia que se está viviendo allá en el país.
He says the main reason was crime. A family member was killed, and that's why they're scared in their own country. He applied for a visa to come to the U.S. and look for a better future for his family. He ended up in Las Cruces because of a job opportunity.
Con las personas que estoy trabajando estoy muy a gusto.
He says the people he works for are good people who know how to appreciate the work of a Mexican worker. The ranch owner who hired the worker, who also doesn't want to be identified, says she appreciates having a worker like him.
Not only is he a hard worker, but he is so kind, he is so honest. We can't do it without him. All this farm work cannot be done without him.
About a month ago, ICE was making raids in different areas of Las Cruces. Workers were afraid to even leave their homes.
Antes solíamos salir sábado, fin de semana,
He says they would go out on the weekends, take the kids out to have fun, and since the president's administration, it's not the same anymore. And they're still afraid of being pulled over by any law enforcement and be deported.
They fear the police, they fear ICE, they fear the Border Patrol. They're always on their best behavior. They always check to make sure every blinker works, everything works on the car, so they're not pulled over.
The American Civil Liberties Union says undocumented immigrants have the same rights as a U.S. citizen.
You always have the right to remain silent. If an officer comes to your door and they're asking you questions, if they pull you over when you're driving, if you're walking and an officer starts to ask you questions, you don't have to answer them.
The worker has hope everything will calm down and that the president, Donald Trump, will change his mind. He says the president should be more careful with what he says about Mexican people. He thinks 9 of 10 Mexicans come here to work and have a better future. If you have any questions, contact the ACLU office in Las Cruces or El Paso. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Melissa, and Jackie will be back with your national forecast.
But first, pet overpopulation is a big problem here in Las Cruces. But NEWS22's Whitley Newberry shows us one pet shelter that's making progress. More on that when NEWS22 continues.
Hi, I'm Norma Bichot, Program Manager for KRWG. It's a brand new season and host Joseph Rosendo is headed on another journey. The new season of Joseph Rosendo's Travel Scope includes adventures to the Cook Islands in the Pacific, joining a parade of the medieval guilds during Zurich's festival, exploration of the stone figures on Easter Island, and the Amazon rainforest in Peru. Come scale new heights of adventure, natural splendor, and cultural richness this season. The travel adventure begins Sundays at 2 p.m. on KRWG.
Watch MHZ Worldview on Digital Broadcast Channel 22.2. Every day, world news and public affairs, and every night, international dramas, all in English or with English subtitles. Worldview is also available on Comcast Channel 395 in Las Cruces and 399 in Silver City and Spectrum Channel 1271 in El Paso. Become a member anytime at krwg.org.
Welcome back. You're watching NEWS22 Thursday,
where news matters.
New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez continues to veto some bills and sign others that were passed by the state legislature. She signed a bill that creates a fund to clean up state land. She signed a bill to pay retirement benefits to state workers and another bill to protect the jobs of National Guard troops when they're deployed. She vetoed a bill to impose assessments on Native American schools and vetoed a bill that would divert money to the Treasurer's office to hire more people. The governor says she will also likely veto the budget. Finance officials say the state could run out of money this summer. Martinez says she might furlough state government workers as soon as April and reduce service days at state museums, parks, and motor vehicle offices. Democratic lawmakers say the governor is overreacting. Like every other community, Las Cruces has a problem with pet overpopulation, and that means thousands of healthy animals are put to death every year.
Even though the problem is far from solved, Whitley Newberry tells us the Las Cruces Animal Shelter is making progress. We must warn you, there's video of a dog being put to death.
The Animal Service Center of the Mesilla Valley holds between 500 and 600 dogs and cats. It is always full, and animals are always coming in. Director Beth Vesco-Mock says the problem has many causes. Animals that are sick, have behavioral issues, and the biggest problem? People not spaying or neutering their animals.
If we did not have as many animals coming in, we would be able to give them the extra attention they needed in order to save them.
She says when she first took over in 2008, they killed more than 10,500 animals. But with some new programs, that number has been reduced to under 3,000.
We have made a lot of progress. If our programs that we have in place was working at their full potential, I believe we could save even more.
Events for local pet adoptions and sending the dogs and cats to rescue facilities has helped a lot. But it still isn't saving all the pets.
Try to make space.
This dog was picked up and its owners never claimed it. We were there on its last day.
He's too old for us to adopt out. He's got health issues. He's not an aggressive dog. He's not anything like that. He's just very old, and he's not going to survive in this environment. We're not going to be able to find him a home.
Dr. Vesco-Mock says this is the hardest part of her job, and she says one of the best ways to keep this from happening is to be a responsible pet owner.
When you get a pet, you need to keep it for its natural life. You just witnessed an older animal being euthanized. That should have been euthanized by the family if they wanted it euthanized, not by us.
Whitley Newberry, News 22.
Pecan trees around New Mexico have been affected by little bugs called the pecan weevil. The pecan weevil is an insect pest of the pecans and has potential to negatively impact the pecan industry in New Mexico. The insect has been detected in Clovis, Lovington, and Roswell, as well as some in Artesia and Hobbs. A group called the Tularosa Basin Downwinders are getting their protest signs ready for the weekend. The Downwinders is a group of people who say they and their older relatives were injured by fallout from nuclear testing. They plan to protest as visitors arrive at the Trinity site for a tour. Trinity is where the government exploded the first atomic bomb. The group says the test altered the gene pool of residents and they've been looking for apologies for years. The Trinity site is open to the public only on the first Saturdays in April and October.
Weight loss can be very difficult, but the payoff is worth it, and the young man you're about to meet is proof.
Tamika Jones has his story in today's Health Minute.
This is Justin Green, and in 2016 he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. At the time, he weighed nearly 400 pounds. And here he is now.
I've lost 120 pounds so far. He recommended being more active and, changing my diet.
Justin's lifestyle changes didn't come easily.
I probably eat less than a quarter of what I used to. Nothing fried, raw vegetables.
We always encourage diabetics to eat, reduce your calories and reduce their carb intake, but also eat only when they have to, when they're hungry. That overeating leads to uncontrolled blood sugar.
Justin says his weight loss has improved his overall health. And he no longer has to take medication or check his blood sugar.
The diagnosis was technically reversed, but I consider myself a non-practicing diabetic.
So it's not uncommon for patients who are very well motivated, who have lost significant weight and have changed their lifestyle, to have a reversal in their blood sugar.
Justin's advice for anyone trying to manage their diabetes is never give up.
Feel better in the process, and maybe you can bring somebody else along with you.
Tamika Jones, CNN, Atlanta.
The sharp increase of temperatures and lack of precipitation this month has started something called a flash drought across the Southwest. Dust storms closed sections of I-10 near the New Mexico-Arizona border, and up north, the winds were so bad, people with asthma and other respiratory illnesses were advised to stay inside. Relief came as quickly as the flash drought began, thanks to some areas receiving rain over the last couple days. Forecasters say that a long-term drought is likely to develop through the month of June. And Jackie is next with the weather.gov national forecast.
Thanks, guys. We're going to go ahead and take a look at your national forecast. Right now, Seattle's sitting at 53 degrees, Boise at a chilly 38 degrees, Salt Lake City at 55 degrees, Denver at a nice warm 70 degrees, Oklahoma City 65, St. Louis at 65, and Cincinnati at 77 degrees. Taking a look at our next map, the Ohio Valley is looking at severe thunderstorms. Tonight, they're looking at damaging winds, hail, torrential downpours, and tornadoes in the Cincinnati, Nashville, and Birmingham areas. Now, these conditions are expected to move into the Gulf Coast tomorrow morning. In our next map, we're going to be looking at snowfall in the northeastern part of the U.S. Tonight into Saturday, they're going to be looking at higher amounts of elevation with the New England area expecting the most snow with an expected 6 to 12 inches. So that's all I have for your national forecast. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, but I'll be back with your New Mexico weather.
Welcome to an exciting new season of New Scandinavian Cooking,
the international cooking series that explores Scandinavian cuisine, culture, and history.
Thursday at 2:30 p.m. on KRWG.
Join special guest Itzhak Perlman and your host Natalie Portman when the phenomenal Gustavo Dudamel conducts the LA Phil in a glorious celebration of music by legendary composer John Williams.
Thank you very much, John.
On great performances.
Friday at 9:30 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and take a look at your current conditions here in New Mexico. Farmington is going to be sitting at 65 degrees, Santa Fe 57, Gallup 61, Albuquerque 69, Clovis 66, Ruidoso 61, Roswell at a nice 75, and Deming at 74 degrees. Tomorrow, Farmington is going to be looking at 50 degrees, as well as Santa Fe, Gallup at 41, Albuquerque 57, Socorro 64, Ruidoso 56, Roswell 80, Las Cruces 70, and Deming at 66 degrees. Taking a look at cities near area, Alamogordo is looking at partly cloudy skies with a low of 53 degrees, and tomorrow they're looking at some rain with a high of 73 degrees. In Truth or Consequences, they're looking at clear skies with a low of 52 degrees, and tomorrow they're looking at sunny skies with a high of 67 degrees. In Silver City, they're looking at clear skies as well with a nice cool 40 degrees as their low, and tomorrow they're looking at some rain as well with a high of 55 degrees. And here in Las Cruces, we're looking at clear skies with a low of 50 degrees, and tomorrow we're looking at a nice 70 degrees with some nice clear sunny skies. That's all I have for your New Mexico weather. I'll be back with your 5-day forecast, but for right now, back to the desk.
Thanks, Jackie. 2 Texas children are dead after being electrocuted.
That's the first story in tonight's Southwest Minute.
The kids were killed when power lines were knocked down by Tuesday night's storm. Fire crews found the boys in a wooded area of Oakland Lake Park last night. Their names have not yet been released. Officials say the power lines were still energized and the grass around the area was on fire. A controversial billboard in Phoenix featuring President Trump has been vandalized. The billboard shows Trump, mushroom clouds, and swastika-like dollar signs. It was created by a Los Angeles-based artist. It appears to have been shot multiple times with a paintball gun. The artist has plans to keep the piece up for at least a year. And 2 couples were caught on camera fighting during a road rage incident in California. Monday afternoon in Chula Vista, fists were flying. The men wrestled each other to the ground while the women could be seen kicking, punching, and pulling hair. An off-duty officer brought the fight to an end. Officers say no one will be pressing charges. I'm Arlen Barraza with the Southwest Minute.
If you're looking for something to do this weekend while you do some good, we have just the thing for you.
The Sigma Chi fraternity here on campus is hosting Derby Days all week. And on Saturday, they'll have a glow party. Tickets are $5. And Alpha Zeta Delta sorority is hosting a 5K run to support the group Autism Speaks. It'll cost you $10 to participate. The run is scheduled for 8:30 at Aggie Memorial Stadium on Sunday. The money raised at both events will go to the Huntsman Cancer Institute at the University of Utah.
Raising about $2,500 by the end of the week. That's the ultimate goal. If anything else would be great. Siglo on Saturday starts at 8 o'clock. All proceeds will be going as well to the Huntsman Cancer Institute.
Autism Speaks is an organization that raises money to research autism and to just make it aware so that people know what autism is and how it affects families and how we can raise awareness for that and raise money for it.
And I asked Nolan what was going to be in the show for sports before the show, but he didn't tell me. He said it was his surprise.
I'm interested to find out what it is. Nolan Fox is next with sports.
Well, thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, the Aggie baseball and softball teams begin their conference play this weekend. We'll take a look at that when News 22 Sports returns.
Tommy Emmanuel.
He has all the qualifications to be a star.
The first time I saw Tommy, I was stunned into silence.
Brought to you by Music Gone Public. Saturday at 11 p.m. on KRWG TV.
My heart keeps going back to Nashville.
We've got lots of guests this week on Ray Stevens Cabaret Nashville. Jimmy Fortune, Bobby Bear, Don Schlitz, and Charlie McCoy. Hey, even a Guitar Zan swings by for an appearance.
Guitar Zan!
It's a lot of music and a lot of fun. And we do it just for you. Don't be late.
Saturday at 10:30 p.m. on KRWG TV.
This is KRWG TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back, and hold on to your socks because I'm Nolan Fox with News 22 Sports. Well, the New Mexico State baseball team will begin conference play this weekend. The Aggies will travel to the Pacific Northwest to take on Seattle University in a 3-game series. Seattle U was picked as a preseason favorites to win the WAC. Last year, in 2016, the Aggies won 2 out of 3 against the Redhawks during the regular season, but lost to them in the semifinals of the WAC tournament. The Aggies enter the series with a record on the season of 14-12, while Seattle sits at 8-15. Kyle Bradish will take the hill and is expected to start in the opening game of the series tomorrow. While the Aggie baseball team opens up WAC play on the road this weekend, the Aggie softball team will open up their conference play at home. They'll also be playing in a 3-game series starting tomorrow at 6 p.m. against Utah Valley. The teams will meet again on a doubleheader on Saturday starting at 4 p.m. New Mexico State heads into conference play with a record of 12-16 after they swept a doubleheader against UTEP earlier this week. Utah Valley currently holds a record of 8-12. And well, most of your brackets are already busted, but don't worry, the madness is nearly complete. The Final Four is set for this Saturday. Gonzaga will play against South Carolina at 4:09 p.m. Mountain Time, while North Carolina and Oregon will tip off at 6:49 p.m. Both games can be seen on CBS and are happening in Phoenix, Arizona. And tonight's play of the day comes to you from the McDonald's All-American High School basketball game. Check it out.
In their freshman year in order for Missouri to be successful.
Sexton off the glass for Bamba. And they have some pieces coming back.
And Colin Sexton showing off a bit of his past defensively. We talked about him competing, and because of his energy and his effort, you see the East getting out on the break.
Sexton throwing it up top, and it's slammed down by Knox to close out the first half in Chicago.
Are you not entertained? My man Sexton loves the lights.
D-Wade thought it was pretty impressive as well.
Avery Johnson has an absolute star coming this way and showcasing his passing ability right there, having a little fun, but still what he's not, I mean, he's still a big-time
And that's all for sports tonight. We'll be back with next week with News 22 Sports. Still ahead on News 22, Jackie will be back with a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, what's better than a statue made out of cheese? Find out when News 22 returns.
Missing something?
You're back. Barbara!
Your favorite midwives are here, and a new season delivers new faces and new rules.
I'm sorry, but the traditional half-hourly timings have worked well enough. But is well enough good enough, Mrs. Turner?
Sunday at 7 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Yosemite is natural beauty on a grand scale.
Over 3,000 years, think of what a giant sequoia has seen.
But as the climate changes, this iconic park may change with it.
Sunday at 11 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Master Cromwell, a man of many talents.
He comes from nothing.
A ruffian.
It's as if he's the one in charge.
You think you are the king?
I'm warning you, those who've been made can be unmade.
I entirely agree.
Sunday at 9 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Go straight to the kicker. Read off your script. 3.
What do you call a Beyonce statue made of cheese? Beyonce, of course. This 45-pound cheesy behemoth was made for the East Village Cheese and Wine Festival in London. Sculptor David Bradley worked with the Robin Collective, an ad agency out of London, to create the cheese sculpture. After debating what picture to mimic, the team settled on Beyonce's internet-breaking pregnancy photo posted in February. It took the sculptor around 28 hours to make, and despite its name, it is actually made out of 45 pounds of mild cheddar.
So Jackie, tell us what the next 5 days is going to look like.
Well, we're looking at some mostly highs in 70s, so we're looking at pretty warm weather with our lowest at 66 degrees on Saturdays, and we're looking.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting News 22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
People who swear, people who shout uncontrollably. Is that the common presentation? That's not what you had, Pete.
I just remember kind of moving my eyes. I was, blinking a lot.
We do see certain kinds of disorders or traits that run in families of patients who have Tourette syndrome.
It doesn't define me, honestly, as an individual.
It's time to take charge of your health care. I'm Dr. Peter Salgo. Join us this week for Second Opinion.
Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, how much could this small prototype be worth?
Did you ever test it yourself? No, I didn't. This is the holy grail of Hot Wheels.
Find out next time on Antiques Roadshow from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Monday at 7 p.m. on KRWG TV.
911, what's the location of your emergency? A shooting at Samuel Elementary School.
After a devastating tragedy,
How do you grieve for 26 people all at the same time?
a community finds strength and resiliency.
We're not going to let the darkness overwhelm us.
Newtown.
Monday at 8 p.m. on KRWG TV.
KRWG-TV public file is available to the public at 2915 McPhee Circle, Milton Hall, Room 117, on the campus of New Mexico State University. Regular business hours are from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. Files are also available online at stations.fcc.gov.
This is KRWG Las Cruces, serving the entire region thanks to your support. Become a member anytime at krwg.org. Local programming on KRWG made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you. This is KRWG, TV, radio, online, news that matters. Next on Newsmakers, the